Now what we're going to do when we put these styles in here, it's effectively the same process or the same kind of thing as applying styles in the Word document down here. And let me just show you an example of that. I've just copied this and pasted it in to save a bit of time. What this effectively is saying is I want some styles applied to the P tags, the H1 tags, and the LI tags. So that's effectively all this text here. And I've grouped them together here, separated by commas, and then after that you've got these curly brackets here, and then inside those curly brackets are some commands, I suppose you could call them. I want to change the font family to Verdana. If you can't find Verdana, use Geneva. If you can't find Geneva, use sans serif. I know that the browser will be able to use and find and use Verdana. This is what's called a font stack, just for safety's sake. And you can see I've changed the font size here and also the left margin. And so all of these styling commands will be applied to all of these tags. That's the same kind of thing as what you can do in a Word document down here. So I'm just going to save this and then refresh it over here in the browser. And as you can see, those changes have been applied. Now, you might notice that this text is quite small, whereas down in the Word document it's quite large. The reason for that is because in the Word document I'm actually looking at it at twice size. So 12 pixels here is going to look a bit bigger. I'll just prove that to you. If I take this down to 100%, you can see 12 pixels there is about the same size as 12 pixels up there. So, but for the purpose of this demonstration video, I'm going to make that one bigger and also this one bigger, just by using the zoom function in the browser there, just so that for the purpose of the screencast you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I have applied some styles to the text and we're getting closer to where we want to finish. Okay, so let's apply more styles. Now we want to add a top margin here. So this white space up there, that's a top margin. So let's do that. And just going to copy text again. And yep, put that in there. Okay, so margin top now, 70 pixels there. Save this. And I wonder if you can predict what's going to happen. I'm just going to get just obscure this Word document here for a minute, just so that you can see what's going to happen. So I'm going to apply margin top. And so if I refresh here, oh, that wasn't my intention, was it? But I've done this just to show you one of the very common errors. You see, all of these styles here have actually been applied to all of the elements. So the margin top has been applied to the heading one, which is what we wanted, but it's also been applied to each and every other element. We didn't want that. We only wanted it to apply to the heading one. So what we should do, in fact, is, I'll just undo that, save it, bring it back to where it was. There we go. And what I actually wanted was something that really only just applies to the H1 tag. So up here, there we go. So now it's a similar kind of command structure. Only apply this to the H1 tag, curly brackets, and the margin top of 70 pixels to that. Let's save that and refresh. Right, that's exactly what we want. We've got the left margin and the top margin. Okay, and so we're just going to be adding more styles as desired. Okay, what's next? Well, we want our heading to have an underline. So we've already got an area here where the H1 tag is individually targeted or selected. So what we're going to do is add text decoration underline, and that's basically the same as pressing the underline button on in a Word document. So save this there and then refresh over here, and the heading one has an underline. Okay, so that works. What's next? Okay, well we have some styling to be applied to these bullet points here, and I've deliberately chosen these to be typical of what you might want to do on a web page. So there's a background highlight with this first list item, there's a color change of the foreground to the second item, and then there's a color change as well as underline for the third list item. How are we going to do that? Okay, well, you might start to see a pattern over here. I'm just going to tidy this up a little bit. So the idea is you select what you want to be affected by whatever styles you put inside the curly brackets. So here the selector is the H1 tags, and this is the style applied to that. Here the selector is the P's and the H1s and the LIs, and this is what we want applied. So what we need to do is find some way of targeting these list items individually. If I, as you can see, the browser has no way of distinguishing which list item I want treated with a background highlight and a red color and a green color with underline. So I've got to distinguish between these list items somehow, and to do that we use what's called a custom style or a custom class, and I'll just paste this in to show you an example. What I'm doing here is I'm defining a new name, if you like. These are predefined names. These are H1, P1, H1, L1 here. They're actually predefined, but I'm going to create a new one. And if I do create a new one, I need to preface it with this period here, there, right? So I can call it whatever I like. I happen to have chosen text color red, and that is defined by changing the color to red. Okay, so that style there, or class, I'm going to apply to one of the list items. And this will distinguish it from the other list items. The way I do that is that inside the tag, make some space, class, and then this name that I defined here, I'll put down here. Okay, so you can see now that these list items are different. This one has got this class, and now the browser knows that what I want it to do is for this list item, I want it to apply this styling here. So let's save that and see if I've done it correctly. And over here, there we go. So now that list item is red. And I can change this color to whatever I like. Let's just change it to cyan, for example. Now note what I've done. I've just changed the styling here. I haven't changed the label. So even though it still says here text color red, it's actually now defined as color cyan, which is a light blue. So refresh here. See that? I can put whatever I like here, and I can call this label whatever I want. But obviously it makes sense if you're consistent. So I'll just change it back to red, save again, and refresh. So all I need to do for this to work is to tell the browser what I want done with the different items. And if we've got items that are basically the same type, like these list items, then I use this class command here, combined with this defined class here, to target those list items separately.